Yeah, but still no go.
There we go.
You control.
We have audio?
So you can't read that?
No.
I can't.
All right, so welcome back. Sorry for the temporary audio glitch. I guess you guys didn't hear anything that we said. It was brilliant.
Oh, it was
I
for the
can't.
I don't think we
archives.
could duplicate
I can't
it.
duplicate that. This is going to
Nope.
be inferior, but still fascinating. But
Lost to history forever.
We were chatting about a new Star Trek series coming to CBS starring Patrick Stewart as Jean-Luc Picard. It's official now, right, Bob?
it's official. It's Patrick Stewart playing Jean-Luc Picard.
Yeah.
It's not a reboot of Next Gen. It's going to be 20 years in the future.
Yeah.
And
So like Twin Peaks style.
yeah. So probably
Directed by
very
David
different.
Lynch, yeah.
So who knows where he's going to be?
Yeah.
He could be on a space station. He could be retired at home. He could be on working for the Federation or Starfleet.
Recaptured by the Borg and.
But it's So he's very.
Could be pimping blue slave girls on Orion 6.
Yeah, anything is possible.
Or
Jean-Luc
Regulus
Picard.
4, one of those.
Jean-Luc Picard as a pimp, as an old guy pimp would work.
Yeah.
That would be cool.
So it's the same guy that's the executive producer and co-creator of Star Trek Discovery. So that's we know this guy's
family.
got some chops. And what else? Did you guys hear about now? You know, the Star Trek Discovery, right? We've seen a few of those episodes.
we do have a show where we talk about that show.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, every single episode of that show.
That's right.
Yeah.
If it's been so long, I forgot.
Steve, do you
Only the
remember
first
Star
season,
Trek
though.
Discovery?
Well, I think I've seen it once. It's
But
been a
did
while.
you know that there's going to be another kind of series called Star Trek Treks, I think, where it's going to be focusing on one character from the Discovery universe. So it's like there's one episode slated for Mud, Harcourt Fenton Mud.
Oh, so it's an offshoot. It's happening in the same time frame.
Same time frame, but it's a total focus on
I like
the
that.
one
It's a great
character.
idea.
So CBS is doing with Star Trek what Disney's doing with Star Wars.
Yeah, just-
taking the universe, expanding it. There's
right.
more stories, more characters, more everything else.
It's a great idea. So
Yeah.
you'll like this, Steve. One of the guy who plays Mud, Rains. He looked at the script and he said the script was so good. Guess who wrote the script? One of the writers of Rick and Morty.
Oh, really? oh my God.
Pickle Rick.
I can't wait.
If you guys aren't watching Rick and Morty, do it. It's like
Oh
so
my God.
well written. You know, for a cartoon, it's funny. It's irreverent. We love it. But the writing is really, really good.
It's right in a geek sweet spot.
Yeah.
You know, most type of geeks. The story I always tell is that my daughter said, "Dad, you got to watch this." I'm like, "All right, never heard of it." I sit down after 3 episodes. I said, "Best show on TV." It
Yeah.
was just like, "Oh my God, hilarious and witty and geeky as hell."
Yeah, I remember like the first minute of the Pickle Rick episode.
Pickle Rick.
I'm thinking,
Pickle
where's
Rick.
this going?
Yeah.
I didn't quite get it, and then unbelievable places where it went. I mean, when a show surprises you like that, I hate shows where,
You predict everything.
like, I kind of like the other science fiction show.
The Expanse.
No. The other Star Trek-like one.
Quark.
Black Mirror.
No.
No, you're talking about the one that has.
Stranger Things.
No, you're talking about.
You know, McFarlane's
Yeah.
Star Trek
Oh,
like
the Orville.
The Orville.
The
Orville.
Orville. The Orville. Is that what you were saying, Liz?
I do like the Orville.
The Orville. But it's okay. But there are a lot of episodes where in the first 5 minutes I know exactly the whole arc of the whole episode. It's
Yeah.
way too
Yeah,
predictable.
yeah.
Like, throw me a curveball at some point in the show. You know?
Curves are nice.
That's why Game of Thrones is so good. Even if you've read the books, it still had surprises. It's still.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
yes.
well, just willing to slaughter main characters left and right.
That's
yeah.
awesome. That's what
I know,
the stakes
yeah.
are incredibly
The
high.
stakes are high. That's right.
And now they're into new territory completely, like, you know, zombie dragons. Hello.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yikes.
When's that coming back?
When's what coming back? Game of Thrones?
Yeah, come on, man.
I was distracted by the picture
Yeah,
of
use it.
Jean-Luc Picard. That's something they put up on from Discord.
Yeah, put it up. Let's show.
Discord
Let's
one.
show.
Can you pull that? Yeah.
This is from our friend Charlie.
Charlie did this?
Yeah, this is Charlie.
Charlie.
You don't? Oh,
Can't pull it?
I could
Charlie,
put it
we
on
saw
the
your
other one.
set the phasers to stunning. That is
I could
awesome.
probably put it up here if I sign into Discord. I don't know.
Can we increase the font size?
So guys, we would like to answer questions. Yeah. So we Ian is trying to find us questions to
Type it on
answer.
the side as it comes in.
And we'd also like to get feedback from you on the
the
membership
comments
as
in
well.
the
So if you have any
pane.
comments that you'd like to make or
I
anything
can
you
just
want us to
barely read
discuss, then feel free to just say it.
So one thing that I've been doing, I think I've done it 3 times so
2019.
far. I've taken just questions, mostly email questions, and recorded just me answering them for premium content. I think I've gotten some positive feedback for that. You guys seem to like that. So what I'm going to do, and I don't know if we need to make a separate channel on Discord for this. Just start. You guys ask me questions. Just have the patrons just put questions there, and I'll go through them, and just we'll and it could just be to anybody. It doesn't have to be to me, and we'll just record those as premium content.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. Of course, it's a good idea.
Just make sure they're
Put
good
that on the list.
questions.
So we're prepping for our London trip.
Yeah.
We've been talking about this, it's getting to the point where it's coming up every day, where one of us is bringing up something. We're super excited about it. So we're going to QED. We're going to Edinburgh.
Edinburgh.
Not borough, borough.
Borough.
And not Berg, because it's spelled Edinburgh.
Yeah, but it's Edinburgh.
Edinburgh.
Edinburgh. And then, what about the other thing?
come the
other
corrections on
invitation
that.
we got? Did that get finalized yet?
I emailed them back, but I didn't finalize it.
All right, there's a couple of other cool things that could be happening on that trip, places that we'd love to go.
I know.
Right?
Trying to pack it with so much good stuff.
Yeah, we'll let
it's
you
gonna
know.
Be an epic trip.
One fun thing we're going to do when we have some time off is we're going to go to the Harry Potter Museum, which is visiting live set, real sets from the movie.
We got tickets.
Really?
Yeah.
That's locked in.
Yeah.
Real sets from the movie? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
On-screen sets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's okay. The cameras won't be rolling, Bob.
And it's going to be set up for Halloween. By
That I know.
Yes,
that I
the
know.
Halloween theme.
Liz, I didn't say it.
I was going to surprise you.
Oh yeah, so guys, someone brought up the idea that there were some comments about the astronauts that were selected. Did you hear about what's going on? This is really
I
awesome.
haven't. No details.
So
What do you
I
got?
heard very little about it.
For the first time since 2011, U.S. astronauts are going to be flying on, American astronauts are going to be flying on American rockets going to the space station. And
American as in
NASA's
North
very happy
American.
about it because we've been piggybacking on other people's space programs.
The Russians.
Yeah, the Russian space program, which, it's great, but it's super expensive. And I can, being an American, I do like us having a space program. It is, if a lot of people know, this is one of my favorite things. I adore the space program. I adore every country's space program. I think all of the effort is wonderful. But they're excited. They chose SpaceX, so they will be flying in the Dragon capsule.
Nice.
And I'm telling you, you look at the spacesuits that they have, everything that SpaceX is designing is science fiction-y.
I was reading about the spacesuits. There has not been an upgrade in spacesuit technology in a very long time.
Yeah.
The old suits that the shuttle astronauts would use for the spacewalk were designs from the 70s, basically, with some modifications and improvements. But there needs to be a new generation of spacesuit, and I hope SpaceX and other companies are helping the other companies that will need to be involved in making the modern suits we need.
I mean, I have to say I love the Apollo spacesuits because they're just iconic.
Yeah.
They're classic, they're gorgeous. But yeah, you want give me a 2001 Space Odyssey kind of spacesuit at this point.
Right.
A little bit sleeker, more maneuverable.
With a cape.
More maneuverable.
Yeah.
No capes.
No capes.
I mean, we've seen lots of spacesuits. If you're a sci-fi fan, you see a million of them.
Yeah.
The ones with the big helmets so you can see the actor's face.
With
and
bright
With
light
the
on their
internal
face.
light,
So they
which
can't
is-
see out, but you can see in.
But I think out of all the spacesuits I've ever seen, I have to say I think the Mercury spacesuits were the coolest. They were the silver ones.
Yeah, those are good too.
And if you look at those retro pictures of the astronauts wearing those spacesuits, I think it might have been, that was my first time ever becoming aware that astronauts existed, was when I saw pictures of Mercury.
Whoa, whoa, whoa! What the hell's that?
That's it. That's the Dragon module, and there's the spacesuit.
No.
No, that looks like a Daft Punk costume.
That doesn't look like a
That's-
spacesuit.
It does not look like a spacesuit.
Guys, look at how not bulky it is.
Yeah, that's what I'm
That's
saying.
crazy.
And unprotective,
But look at the
potentially.
waist. It looks like it has a shirt over pants. I mean, doesn't look like one continuous suit.
So we're skeptical of this image that nobody really can see except us. Is that right?
No, well, people on Discord can see it, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
That's
if
a
you're
good point.
if you're watching this stream,
Wait, we got to vet that. That's not.
then you're an
that's
SGU
too-
member, and you should be on Discord. You really should be on Discord right now. And if you have any questions about that or need any help, then you could ask for help on Discord itself.
It can't be that cool and sleek.
Why not, Bob? Why does it have to be as bulky? That's what we were just saying. It's the lack of technology.
But not just that, but Steve's right. It does look like there's a shirt over pants.
How do you pressurize that suit? I mean, is there
All
enough
right, so-
space in there?
Right.
We have another question. How do we go about getting our signed book? So the first thing you do is you buy the book, and then you sign it, and you have a signed book.
That's right. And
You,
anyone-
Do you mean
sign.
signed by
That
us?
was an easy
That's
one.
that's a little bit.
Well, you can go to Barnes & Noble and buy one of the signed books.
Well,
there.
okay, so there's going to be a few opportunities. Barnes & Noble will be doing a special. I think it's for Christmas, so it may not be right away.
3,000 books?
No, 1,700. So we pre-signed 1,700
Felt like
books
3,000.
My hand still hurts.
for Barnes & Noble. So that's one opportunity. Of course, if you come to any event after October 2nd, where we're going to be, we will be there to sign the books. But also, I haven't locked this in yet, but our plan is to find a local bookstore that can ship the book, and then we will sign it. They'll get a bunch of orders, and then we'll go in and sign them all.
Yeah,
and
they
then they'll
become
ship
our
them.
hub for the sub.
Yeah, that'd be
for
great.
the signed books.
That'd be
Carol
great.
won't be able to do it, but you'll get the four of us to do it.
Yeah.
Because Kara's on the other
I
coast.
I also think that we could, when Kara comes, we could pre-sign a bunch of books, and the bookstore can hold them and send them when orders come in, right?
Yeah. Well, that's true. She'll be here, so
Yeah.
if we do it and then we just plan on signing them while she's here, so that's true. Yeah, when she's here.
Stock
like,
up.
like on that Tuesday before we leave for the UK. I sent an email to one local bookstore that I want to use. I haven't answered. I'll probably just physically go there,
Yeah.
which I haven't had time to do. But we'll try to lock that in. So that'll be the opportunity where anybody can get a signed book. You'll just have to order through this one local to us bookstore that we could then sign. But just be somewhere where we are, and we'll sign them.
So another listener in Ireland, he said, we'll pop over to the UK, or she will pop over to see SGU. Which of your planned events would you suggest I go for? So this collectively, there isn't probably one answer, but I think if you're going to come,
QED is sold out, right?
QED sold
But
out.
you can come to the extravaganza.
You could go to the extravaganza
So that would be it.
or our private show or the Edinburgh.
Edinburgh Skeptics are setting up a show the Monday, Tuesday after QED.
So let's explain
And
the
then
differences
Friday-
between the shows, right? Because it really comes down to, do you want to be in a private show or do you want to see the extravaganza? The extravaganza is a 2-hour stage performance, which is akin to an improv, like a comedy improv, but we revolve it around science and skepticism. It's a lot of fun. It's totally off the cuff. So George comes up with all the bits. No, we collectively
come up with it together.
we write the bits, and then George comes up with the unique bits for that show. So we have this one thing as an example. This one bit called freeze frame. So one person puts earphones on, can't hear what's going on, and then George will say, and we'll say a movie that we used, 2001: A Space Odyssey, right? The other people have to do a frozen mimic of something that would make the person with the headphones on be able to say that's 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Right.
And you as the audience get to watch all the crazy shit that we're doing for the minute to try to prepare to figure out what should we do, who's going to do what, how's it going to happen. And then George is like, all right, you got 5 seconds, all right, you got to freeze. And then we freeze, and then the person takes the headphones off, and sometimes they get it. If you're Bob, sometimes you don't. Remember that, Bob?
You just made all that shit up.
So we have a lot of bits, and we don't even know which ones we're going to pick for the next show. The freeze frame will probably definitely be in there, but we have a lot of different things that we do. And again, you'll still have time to meet us. We'll still be there to sign the book.
Right. So when's
afterwards.
the extravaganza for
That's
people?
Thursday
night before QED.
The 11th.
Okay.
Thursday, October 11th.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
In
that'll be
Manchester.
in Manchester,
Yeah.
yes, sir.
Okay.
So you either have to hook up with us in Manchester, in Edinburgh, or in London, in that order.
Evan
And-
asked a question today that I didn't have the answer to.
What?
are we doing in Edinburgh?
To be determined.
It's not. Is it all right? So we
Not officially.
I am in communication with the Edinburgh Skeptics, but we haven't locked in exactly what we're doing. We're probably going to do a, I don't know, like
kind of like a private show.
Well, I think that we should do a show in London,
Yeah.
but Edinburgh is going to be too soon after. We just did 2 shows like 2 days before,
Yeah.
and so we should do something else. So we need to talk about what we're going to do.
Yeah, I mean, we could do. I think it would be cool to talk about some single topics, take some questions, but
Yeah.
whatever. But to finish the answer, the private show is 40 people or less. It's very intimate, and we're crazy off the cuff in that show, right? We've just in the last one that we did, we said some crazy stuff. Like we just.
Oh my God.
It's unedited. It really is us at our most unedited that you'll ever get.
And
So those are a lot of
often
fun.
sleep deprived, so you can
Yeah,
see
yeah.
hear even crazier stuff.
Yes, with the.
But the best thing
Jet
that you
lag
could
too,
do,
yes.
listener from Ireland, is come to Dragon Con and go to that private show, because that that's an event.
Yeah.
Because at Dragon Con, we're mostly there. You know, we were only doing like 2 shows when we're there, and we go to Dragon Con because we want to go to Dragon Con, and there's plenty of time to hang out and talk to us. So that would be, if you could make it, that's something to see. That's amazing.
Let's do the flat Earth question.
Correct pronunciation. Hold on, go up there.
Edinburgh.
As a Scot, Edinburgh.
Oh. Edinburgh.
As if you
12
suddenly get
Rs.
very cold. Okay, Edinburgh.
Edinburgh.
Okay. When are y'all coming to Austin? Plenty of good cons and why'd you do that? Plenty of good cons and events you would fit in at. Sorry. Thank you.
Is,
We've never been invited.
We've
to
never
Austin.
been invited, and we don't know.
is the PAC South conference there? Southwest?
I don't know.
SWSX? There's a con. I think that's Austin.
What you do is
that Austin?
just tell us on Discord
Yeah, I think so.
what
Yeah.
cons you think were good, and we'll talk about it because we're always looking to go to new ones. Question: what's the difference between doctor of osteotherapy
Osteopathy.
and osteopathy? He's highly-
Osteopath.
and MD,
MD.
medical doctor.
Everything.
All right, yeah, we get this question a lot. No, there's no difference. So, 100 years ago, osteopaths were very similar to chiropractors. Chiropractors are based on the idea that you can manipulate, the bones in order to free the flow of life energy through the nerves in order to cure everything, right? Which is silly. Osteopaths had the idea that you manipulate the bones in order to free the flow of life flow through the blood vessels.
Look at the bones.
Yeah, but so it was basically another version of chiropractic.
Okay.
But then after the Flexner report in 1910, and then the MDs became very science-based. They sort of closed half the medical schools, and they had high standards. Essentially, the medical establishment said to both the chiropractors and the osteopaths, join us, in our science-based practice. We could adhere to the standards that we are now adhering to. Chiropractors said, screw you, and the osteopaths said, okay.
Yeah, that can be legit.
Yeah, so the osteopaths basically went legit, and now their training is almost identical to medical school training. They do. There was osteopaths in residency programs where I was. That they.
Steve, but is their training complete?
Well, we complete their training.
Yeah.
They came over to the science side where we can complete.
Is there a reason why we still call them osteopaths?
Because they're a DO, they're a doctor of osteopathy, and they go to schools of
But do they
osteopathy.
go and get a medical
like the
degree, a
minor
base
leagues?
medical degree?
Yeah,
first?
but it's basically they made themselves the same as medical schools.
Okay.
And except they still keep some manipulation stuff in there, some physical therapy things. So their traditions are a little different, and sometimes they do. Recently, I think they've sort of brought back a little bit of the alternative medicine stuff because it's popular.
Yeah.
So, but there are MDs who do that too, though.
Okay.
But
Thank you
there
for
may
the
be a
question.
little bit of a difference in
Yeah.
the culture, but they're basically MDs at this point.
So guys, let's jump on this question. Tell us your dumbest flat Earth argument. The worst one I've heard is that there's no gravity, but the pancake Earth is accelerating at 9.8 meters per second, which means that we would have passed the speed of light quite some time ago. So
Okay, I've heard that too. That is definitely top 5 dumbest flat Earth.
it is.
arguments. There's
But
no gravity.
But if you dig a little deeper, though, if you're looking at, so the idea here is that, and Einstein, right? This is part of Einstein's thought experiments, is that acceleration is indistinguishable from
yes.
gravity.
Right.
Okay, but it is
Almost indistinguishable.
Almost indistinguishable, because you can, if you study the gravitational field of the Earth, say you have a weight, an arrow, a heavy weight on a string, and if you hold it here and somebody held it a mile that way, they're both pointing down, but they're both pointing towards the center of the Earth. So you could, with a good measurement,
So they would be slightly
error.
Slightly
It's
not
detectable.
parallel.
It's detectable. So if you could show that, then you could say we are not accelerating, because
Right.
acceleration doesn't do that. But otherwise, it is essentially the same.
that one is
the
easy
same
to
thing.
disprove.
That's an easy one. But even if you posit that there is gravity, then it's still ridiculous, of course, because think about it. You've got a massive disk, the flat Earth, that would still have some sort of gravitational field. If you say, that
would collapse into a sphere.
well, okay, there's that, but there's effects that you would see on the Earth. And now imagine you're on a disk and you're in the center, then gravity is pulling you down and equally all around. But the closer you get to the edge, the more of the Earth is behind you, and the more the gravitational pull.
Be that way.
If you threw
couldn't get to the
something,
edge.
if you threw something up in the middle of the Earth, it would go up and down. But if you were at the edge, it would go up and go. Whoa, it would go back towards the mass of the Earth. And if you would, the closer you got to the edge, you would be like slowly you'd be
Like
walking
crawling up
on,
a wall,
on an
basically.
incline, and eventually when you got to the edge, you could actually like jump on the edge because all the mass of the Earth and gravity would be pulling. So it's just stupid no matter how you
can't
look at it.
have
So
gravity,
either way,
you can't not have gravity.
Right.
But we have to correct the question. If the Earth were accelerating essentially at 1g in one direction, it would not pass the speed of light. You would just get closer and closer and closer to the speed of light.
Right.
Right. Because just the way the relativity works, you could, but it would require more and more energy to do that. It would get to the point where you basically need you're asymptotically approaching infinite energy in order to keep accelerating.
Right, and even so, if you don't hit infinite energy, you're hitting damn close to it.
Yeah.
So where's that coming from?
Well, let's continue down a list because I have one I think.
All right, what else?
I'm torn between two of them, but just for today, I'll say that the idea that there's a dome over the disk Earth to me is ridiculous because it means that somebody built the whole construct. If there's a dome,
No, it's just nature, it's just God built it.
yeah, it's God, right?
Yeah.
There was one guy that was saying like you could see like the missile goes up, then it explodes, and he was talking about like when the explosion
hit the dome.
It hit the dome, and that nothing went past the dome, of course.
It's a tough dome, man.
And I remember watching that going,
Truman Show,
man,
man.
how much Kool-Aid do you have to drink to believe that?
Yeah. I mean, it's endless. The ice wall around the edge
Guarded
guarded
by
by NASA, for some reason.
Who else
Because
is
otherwise you could prove that the Earth were flat if you went to the edge, right? So no one could get there. So how many people
None
would it
shall
take to
pass.
surround the edge to keep anyone from ever getting there?
Well, it depends on how big the disk is.
God, thousands.
Depends on the gravity.
And of course, if you fly from because in their model the North Pole is in the middle, and so the farther south you go away from the North Pole, the more distorted the Earth is from a sphere. You know what I mean? So if you had to fly from like Australia to Chile on a flat Earth, you would have to go either across the middle or all the way around.
Yeah, right.
Whereas on a globe, they're not that far apart. So it's significant. Again, the farther south you go, the more significant that difference is. So why hasn't anybody noticed that? And the answer is the pilots are all in on it. Like if you're flying on a plane,
it's part of the grand conspiracy.
they change their speed to make the times work out so that they could fake a spherical
Clearly.
roll. Right? Okay, so every pilot ever is in on it.
Yep.
And not one has ever said, it's, flat Earth is made of people. Like no one came forward.
Where's the
Nice.
whistleblowers?
Yeah.
Right, not even one.
All right, next question. Do you guys play any instruments? I think I remember one of you was in a band. And can we hear it? Steve was
Can
in
we
the
hear
band.
it anywhere?
Steve, Jay, you were in the band.
I was in the band, yeah.
I played 3 instruments in my life, none of them terribly well. So I took piano when we were younger, so I could still play a little bit, but not
read
good
some
enough
notes.
to entertain anybody. I just taught myself the flute, and a friend of mine, Kieran, helped teach me the flute a little bit. Once you get the embouchure, the rest is just it's just technique from that point forward.
And what's the embouchure?
Embouchure is just the
lip movement?
Yeah, how you have to form your lips in order to make the sound. So every wind instrument has its own embouchure.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
So once you get the embouchure, then you can make a note, then you can play the flute, then you gotta just learn the notes. But then of course, there's to play it better and better, you need to get, you need to be able to control your breath, and there's all the technique. And then I also play the drums. Again, that's what I played in the band. In college, I played the drums. I haven't really kept up with it, but essentially because I lost my drum kit when my parents moved.
Yeah, remember that.
Yeah, but my daughters play a lot. My daughter Julia plays the piano, the flute, and she took up the bassoon in college because they needed a bassoon player. So she's like, all right, I'll play. And Autumn plays the clarinet and the piano, and she wants to take up the drums.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. And Jay, you're a bass guitarist.
Yeah, I was in a band for 21 years.
Yeah.
And we were original band, then we became a cover band because
Because you couldn't write music.
Yeah, nobody wants to hear originals.
Yeah.
Yeah, I loved it. It was great.
You guys were awesome, in terms of playing music, but your original songs were horrible, Jay.
Yeah,
I mean, sorry to tell you, but you know that.
Will
But
we
Jay-
ever dust some off and hear it? That's
Jay could also sing. I mean,
Yeah.
you did a version of Bloom in Bloom.
yeah.
I loved it, man. It was just like, holy shit, Jay, you could sing, dude. I loved it.
Yeah, I mean, I took vocal lessons for a long time, and I would sing every day. Like you got to make a big commitment to it. I wasn't born with a natural good voice. I had to develop it, and but I did. Like I took operatic singing in college as a class.
Really?
It was really like the first real vocal lessons I started taking, and it worked. Like it's unbelievable
How much better you
noticed, yeah, it was great. I still play the acoustic guitar today. I mean, I have some like recordings of band rehearsals, but they're so bad. We didn't really record our shows back then because it was like recording wasn't like a thing that was easy to do.
Yeah. They have a tape somewhere.
You've got tapes.
My college band.
Yeah, but I mean, I wouldn't play like I wouldn't want anyone to hear like a rehearsal that wasn't a.
But I've like
Of the live shows.
there's a version of you, yeah.
Oh yeah, we had 3 songs that we recorded in the studio that.
Yeah, but I've seen video of you live on stage.
You did? I don't have any.
You must have that.
I don't know.
There might be some.
Yeah, if I find it, I'll put it up on Discord.
All right, cool.
Evan?
Some good premium content.
Nope.
Nothing?
No. Nope. I play no instruments.
Sorry. Okay, this one here. So I have a question regarding sleep hygiene. My ceiling fan has become a bit noisy. Nothing loud, but enough that I hear it when I'm trying to get to sleep. But without it, it's a bit too hot. So I was wondering how much noise is too much for a healthy night's sleep.
Whatever disturbs your sleep.
Yeah.
I mean, it's very individual. There's no like, oh yes, this many decibels. Essentially, you should get 7 to 8 hours of restful sleep, and you should feel rested in the morning. And you should not have what we call excessive daytime sleepiness. So if you feel like you'd want to lay in bed for 2 more hours, or if you are can fall asleep at the drop of a hat during the day, you're not getting enough sleep. You have to make changes. Since you ask, and since this is, I am a physician, I'll give you the basics of good sleep hygiene. No caffeine. Caffeine is horrible for sleep. It directly interferes with your brain's ability to engage in its sleep cycle.
Even if you drink it at 8 in the morning to get rid of it.
Yeah. So there was one study that showed that caffeine as late as noon can delay sleep onset, but caffeine at any time just is disruptive to your sleep cycle. Because also think about it, if you relegate the caffeine to the morning, then you're withdrawing from the caffeine when you want to go to bed, and that can disrupt your sleep as well. So caffeine is just terrible for sleep.
Assuming caffeine affects you in that way.
So let's say whatever. If you're getting a good night's sleep, then don't worry about it, right? So, if you are not getting a good night's sleep for whatever reason, these are the things you can go through.
Yes.
Get rid of the caffeine. Get exercise during the day. Get light during the day because your brain, its circadian rhythm, the 24-hour rhythm is set by light. So you want light during the day and dark at night. No electronic devices for 2 hours before you go to sleep. Don't eat or drink right before you go to sleep. Empty your bladder right before you go to sleep. Make sure you have a good firm mattress that is comfortable for you. This is trial and error, and that the pillow works for you. Basically, no one does well with an old saggy mattress, but other than that, just find whatever makes you feel comfortable. And again, the bottom line is you need to be getting a good night's sleep. If you think you're doing all those things and you're still not getting a good night's sleep, then see your doctor, because you may have sleep apnea, you may have some medical issue that needs to be addressed, you may need a sleep study. But if you can't troubleshoot this on your own, definitely this is a conversation you want to have with your doctor. I can't tell you how many times I see patients and they have some horrible whatever situation, migraines, back pain, whatever, and then I ask them about their sleep. They volunteer zero information about their sleep. And I asked them about the sleep. They're like, oh, it's terrible. I get 3 hours of sleep a night. I didn't think that was worth mentioning. So people don't realize that's a medical problem. If you're not sleeping, that's a question for your doctor. It is amazing.
Yeah. All right, Jay, did you want to add anything?
Well, I mean, I've been through the whole gamut here. Thanks. I usually
on the other end of things.
Yeah. I mean, I have had bad sleep. It's gotten worse over the last 20 years to the point where I just had a sleep study done. Bottom line is that they say my problem is stress. That I have I worry about a lot of different things now. Because I think the big change for me was 2 kids. Having 2 kids, I worry about them all the time.
I told you not to do it, man.
Yeah. So you could go.
They're such low energy kids, or mellow.
They're super low energy.
Yeah, they take care of themselves, Brad.
And they're not loud at all.
Raising a flower.
They're not loud. So you got to also keep in mind too, your mental health is a part of it. If you're suffering from depression or anxiety, or if you have high levels of stress, tell your doctor. Don't.
But also, the lack of sleep makes those things worse.
Yeah.
So pretty much all the things that worsen your sleep are worsened by lack of sleep.
Yep.
And so it's a vicious cycle. We call it comorbid because they basically cause each other.
So one thing that has recently worked for me is melatonin actually is helping me fall asleep.
Is that right?
So the scientific evidence on melatonin is that it does not help you fall asleep.
What does it help you do?
It just helps you set your clock.
Okay, so
because that's what it is. It's not a sedative. It does not induce your brain to fall asleep. That's what your brain uses to know that it's time to fall asleep.
But so in other words, it's helpful to take it before you go to bed.
It's good for jet lag. Not really for primary insomnia. That's the bottom line.
Yeah, it won't act like a sleeping pill.
Yeah, it's not a sleeping pill.
Yeah, it's more of just getting your body prepared for sleeping.
If you're like out of whack and you need to get yourself on schedule, melatonin can help you get on schedule. That's what the evidence shows.
Or I mean, my strategy is, you get under the covers, you close your eyes, and you go to sleep. So that works.
If that works for you,
I'm sticking with that.
I sleep like a rock.
Like the people that have sleeping problems, we just want to punch you right in your face.
I know. And don't forget, I could drink like 3 cups of coffee
right before,
like 11 p.m. to 1 a.m. and go right to sleep. So yeah.
So Bob, from all of us, go fuck yourself.
Jay, like we're going on a flight wherever, and I'm like in the plane, and I'm like, sometimes I'll just doze off, and Jay's looking at me like, that bastard.
You and Steve fall asleep before the plane takes off. I'm like, remember 3.25, but I'm like
1.21 gigawatts.
Taking Xanax. Like I've had a doctor tell me, like, you take it one pill an hour before, 30 minutes before, and then when you sit on the plane, it's really good because the bottom line is, I'm like, I don't like flying. I'm big on a seat. Those seats are tiny to me. I'm like spilling out of the seat. My knees hurt. My legs hurt. I turn back every time. You two bozos.
Not every time.
And they're asleep like they're in ecstasy. They're like this.
We're like the guy on Aliens on the dropship.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. Oh boy.
And Courtney, at one point, we were flying to Vegas to go to a conference, and I'm like turned back and I'm like scowling. And Court goes, "What, Jay?" And I go, "Just look at him." You know what I mean? I'm mad at you guys. Like genetically, like when I spun the wheel, it was like bad sleep. No. Somebody said
you got some good stuff too.
So
Jay.
Finley Mayer said it's was it 12:35 a.m. here, so SGU live stream is a sleep depriver. Sorry about that. You must watch this because you are a patron. Question: Did any of you watch SGU Stargate Universe? The answer is yes. No. Bob, what did you think?
I did not.
I watched the original Stargate Command. Awesome. Top 5 sci-fi series of all time. Oh. Wonderful. Really? Funny. Yes, I've said that to you many times. It was funny. It was creative. It was amazing world building and an expansion of the movie itself. Oh my God. Loved it. Oh, I'm going to watch it again. Liz and I binged it over the course of like 6 or 7 months a few years ago, and I'll do it again. I absolutely loved it. The second one, the Atlantis, was good. Not as good as the first one, but it had some gem episodes interspersed, and it was a good story. But you gotta know,
a good from Bob, it means it's shit. You
have
to calibrate to Bob.
Bob is very generous.
I didn't know you come with translations.
Oh my God, you guys. Yeah, it says that people who haven't even seen this shit.
No, but when you...
Secondly...
Right, am I right?
When Bob goes, it was good. When you say something is good, and you're like excited, it's good. Yeah. But you will give mediocre stuff a pass. Because you actually don't want to offend the filmmakers. You're like, yes, Bob, yes.
I guess maybe I'm easily entertained.
Yes.
But Universe. I mean, Stargate Atlantis. I liked it. It wasn't as good as the first one. I mean, I'd give it like a B minus. Maybe I should grade this stuff. Universe. I watched a handful of episodes. Some of it was good. Some of it was it was kind of blah, and it didn't sustain my interest, and I didn't finish it. How's that?
I mean,
so you couldn't sustain, and you didn't finish.
Unwatchable.
All right, thanks,
Waste
Bob.
of ones and zeros.
How did you build the console behind you? This is a fun question. What controls the lights and screens? PC, Raspberry Pi, or other? All right.
There's a console behind us.
Steve, you want to start with this?
Yeah, well, the console behind us has been a saga from going back to the 24-hour
That's
show.
That's right. Yes.
And it was built by us, along with our brother Joe, helped, and we hired a carpenter.
We hired a carpenter, and I was actually there for him that day, and I helped him.
He did the hard stuff.
He did the hard carpentry stuff, and I helped him a little bit, but this was his baby. We gave him the designs. Jay obsessed over the designs. We pretty much gave him a blueprint, and so I was there and kind of helped him a bit. So he basically built it, and then we took over, and Jay went off the deep end. Yeah. In obsession and
it was
detail.
So much fun.
And, oh yeah, it was so much fun.
So we sanded it, painted it, detailed it.
But you just went through
that's
paint
6
alone.
weeks.
I spent hours in Home Depot. I printouts from my computer to get as close as I could to the colors, and I think we did a pretty good job. And
then when I moved to this house,
we had to take it apart.
We had to take it apart and rebuild it. We basically had to rebuild it.
Who was that? It was me, you,
and Joe.
and Joe.
Yeah.
We rebuilt them like, oh my God, how's this gonna happen?
And it's better. And I think when we rebuilt it, really reinforced it a lot.
I think the lights is an interesting story, mainly because I was in control of that. But so we're trying to think, how are we going to do the lights? And I mean, the way to do it, the best way is like they did it in the movies. You have these, you have you have real like LED lights that go into the console that are plugged in, and you plug them in, hit a switch, and you're good. But
we don't have that.
We don't have those skills. So we're trying to think, how are we going to do this? And Jay, so I was thinking, I bought some LED stuff on some flash. The name of the website's Flashing Blinky Lights. That's the website. So I went on there.
What do they sell?
I almost answered that question. So they have ice cube lights. The big ones are the ice cube lights that are literally ice cubes that you could put them. You could put them in a drink and your drink will glow. Yeah. And I'm like, that would be a perfect analog to the big light on the console. And then the little lights, are they called?
Dot lights.
The little dot lights or tic tac lights. What do they call them? They've got a goofy name, but they're little. So Jay found those. I think you found that black material, the substrate on the bottom.
Black acrylic material.
So we cut that into semi-appropriate shapes, and then I attached them and we laid them out on the thing. And remember, it looked good. We looked at it, we took some pictures. We're like, this looks really good. Then we looked at it on the screen, and we're like, on camera, it looks fantastic. It's just like it looks great as is, but on camera, it just pops so much. And you can't. I couldn't. Some of those are dead. I actually have a whole suite of new lights that I got to reattach. Well, most of the batteries are dead.
The monitors, I just cut holes in the console. So there's just 4 15-inch screens on the bottom, 2 like 23-inch or whatever monitors on the top. The computer that I can run here runs that screen as well. It's just duplicated.
Yeah, that's it.
So we're looking at the screen and it's behind us, and that's where we Skype people. The other one, there's a computer that runs that screen and one of the below screens. Then I have another like small little one of those 4x4 computers that run the other 3 monitors. Yep. One of our monitors is dying back there. We got to replace it. But so yeah, it's basically 3 PCs are running all those monitors.
Yeah. One of them has actually got 3 monitors running off.
Yeah. One has 1, one has 2, one has 3.
Yeah. And the lights at the bottom, which you can, Steve, if you move to your right, you can see the red on Steve's shoulder here. That's actually, if you look at the original series, they have those cutouts as well, and I'm just lighting them from behind.
Yeah.
And one upgrade that we want to make, and I'm still, the guy that built another prop for me hasn't given me the price yet. We actually want the console to be the Science Station console, where you drop in the lights and it has active switches that work and all that.
Yeah.
It's going to be very expensive and it's super low on a priority list, but we'd love to do that as well. But I got to tell you, if you look to the left of your screen, that object between Bob and Evan, which is was made from a listener, which we talked about before. That is my favorite thing that's on the set right now. I adore that prop. That prop is, you could use that. It's so good that you could use that on a TV show. It's like it's a 4K worthy prop, and it's awesome. And it's a duplicate of one that was on the original set. So I love that.
Right. Speaking of the original set, we talked about it on the show this week that if we get to, what's the number, 4,000 patrons, we're doing a 12-hour show. 5,500, we're doing a 24-hour show. We're going to try to do the 24-hour live streaming marathon from the replica set of the original Star Trek Enterprise.
If we can pull it off.
If we can pull it off. Maybe they'll only let us do the 12 hours, then we'll do the 12 hours. We'll start interfacing with the guy once we get a little bit closer to those numbers. That will be a lot of fun. We'll do it. I mean, if we do it from here, this is a lot of fun too.
Yeah, but if we do it from that set, we can go anywhere on the set.
Oh my gosh! We'll go to engineering. We'll go to the transporter room.
Heaven.
So
heaven.
The earliest day. Yeah, right. I mean, we can. I want to do that thing where for 15 minutes, we try to do an episode of something, whether we write it or we are copying. That would not happen at the earliest. That whole thing, if I get the clearance from the museum to do it, would be next spring because they don't.
Well, we're not going to get to that number.
Yeah, it would take a while. Anyway. Yeah, we're thinking. But it would be great if we can get there. But either way, we'll do the 12-hour show anyway.
Yeah, we'll do it either way, whether it's on that set or here. But that would be awesome. Yeah. We could do it on the set. Where else fun could we do it if we can't do it on the set of the Enterprise? A museum?
That's you got to think like who would let us take up 12 or 24 hours? You got to think that's a lot of time. I mean, I always want
on
to.
a Saturday to Sunday.
I want to go to. Well, wait. Now you know there's a museum in Litchfield, Connecticut, a retro sci-fi museum that I found.
Okay.
So me and Brian Trent, who does AQ6 episodes with us, we've interviewed Brian on the SGU a couple of times. Our friend Brian Trent is a science fiction writer, and he and I are super into going to this museum in Litchfield. So we're going to go check it out. And when I go, if it feels like a cool place that we could do,
maybe.
Yeah, we
that
can.
would be a potential site.
Yep, that could be a potential site. I would love to do it. Like, I don't know if this could even happen, but there's the space shuttle that's on the
in New York.
the one in New York, the Intrepid. I don't know. If we did an after hours thing, that would be cool.
Yeah, and we could plan like smaller, just regular 2 or 3 hour shows from special locations like that.
Yeah.
Once we're still trying to figure out how to get a totally portable streaming rig. Right now, Ian, our tech guy, lets us use his sling. Is it the sling thing? What's it called?
Sling blade?
Sling blade?
No, it's a secret. Don't
It's a secret.
No, that's a lot of research. You
Black
have to pay
Box
for that
X is all.
But yeah, so whatever. But we'll multi-camera streaming is hard. Multi-camera streaming on the road is harder
remotely.
still. Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's possible. It's just a matter of we're still trying
Relying
to
on
decide
someone
like
else's
how we're going to do that. Single camera is a lot easier than multi-camera. Obviously, in the studio is a lot easier than on the road. So anyway, the advantage of this set is that we could do multi-camera streaming with all of our own gear pretty reliably. Obviously the occasional hiccup, but as reliable as you can get with good broadband connection.
Yeah.
We won't be on Wi-Fi or anything. So there's advantages to being here. But we should. We did some streaming from Nexus. We'll do some streaming from DragonCon. We'll do some streaming from Manchester, from the whole UK thing, and we'll keep building our ability to remotely stream. And then, but we could, once we really feel comfortable doing that, we could start to plan events in special locations. Like I would love to do one sitting in the cockpit of the space shuttle. That would be awesome.
That'll never happen, but that would be awesome.
Why not?
It would be fun
Never
to
say never. The worst, if we ask, the worst thing that can happen is that they'll say no.
And it would be fun to go to the Kennedy Space Center.
Ooh. Yeah.
That would be phenomenal.
SpaceX.
Yeah, could you imagine?
Yeah.
Real quick, we lost a question, but somebody.
Altered Carbon. Did you finish?
Yeah, somebody's asking if I had finished the Altered Carbon series, which is yes, this trilogy. I finished it, loved it. I listened to it in audio. It's a wonderful series. If you liked the Altered Carbon season that was on, what was that on Netflix?
It was on one of those channels.
It's a wonderful story. The main conceit of Altered Carbon is that human bodies, we developed a technology such that human bodies are what's referred to as sleeves, and you've got basically your entire personality and mind in your spine. That is
That's your stack.
That's your stack. You could basically put your stack, your person, yourself into another body, and then you now have full control over that body. So that's the main gimme for that series. That's so much fun. But the books were very, very good. And there's one thing I liked about the author is that he would come up with scenarios of how culture might change with this technology. And one that I really enjoyed was this. So say you're your stack is in a different sleeve. Your stack, your mind is in a different body, and you meet your friends, and maybe you haven't seen them in 80 years, because you got a young sleeve, So you don't look like you, but you claim to be. Like Jay, say if I ran into you in a half a century on Pluto.
I can prove it was me in a nanosecond.
Well, that's just it. There's actually this
stack detector.
There's actually, well, you would think they'd have like some sort of barcode on that you could. That you can use, but they don't even go there. So this is what the culture has developed in this series. It's some sort. It's like a ritualized conversation. So if Jay and I met in a century, and we're not, and I say I'm Bob, and you say you're Jay, and neither of us are sure that we really are the person because we don't look like us. So Jay, you and I would sit down and we would have a conversation, and if somebody was listening, it would seem like, well, we're just having a fun conversation, but it's actually
a code that both of you know.
It's actually a conversation where you just talk and you throw out questions and ideas, and what you're doing is you're grilling that, but they're grilling each other to see over maybe hours, you might say, yep, all right, this has got to be Jay. Because
Yeah.
everything he said, everything matches. And it's not just one or two questions, because imagine the technology they would have at that time. So that was just a really cool thing that would develop in a culture,
Sure,
I
I
reckon.
agree.
So little things like that he throws in that I love. I recommend it. It's really kind of like a really futuristic, kind of cyberpunkish. He's a good writer, and I actually prefer the second book to the third book, but they were all worth listening or reading. Sure.
Cool. Do any of you have any favorite books? Do you guys think the skeptical movement could benefit from more engagement? Oh my God, where did this come from?
Wow.
It's my favorite skeptical.
Thank you, Thing.
Could benefit from more engagement with philosophy. So, I mean, absolutely, the answer to that last question to me is a yes. I mean, I think the skeptical movement needs philosophy. It's based on philosophy.
Science is based on philosophy.
Science came from early philosophers. I mean, the roots of the scientific
they're
method started
intertwined.
in the pre-Socratic era. Yes, of course, and we have philosophers in the movement.
Massimo.
I was just
Massimo,
emailing. I didn't
yeah.
even tell you this, but I emailed Massimo to help me with some questions about my talk, and I mean, Massimo, and he was on the podcast with Julia Galef.
Yeah.
The podcast is great. If you're into philosophy, I recommend that you listen to it because it's right in our sweet spot. I have a favorite philosopher. It's hard for me to say. I mean, I'm
partial to Hume myself, but
Yeah.
I mean, I think as philosopher is not about any one philosopher. It's about the arc. It's the conversation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's, I don't think you should be hewing to any one philosopher because then you're stuck in time. But the whole
But hew
point,
if you want to hew.
But the whole point is, philosophy is a conversation. It's like, where are we in the conversation?
Right.
You know what I mean?
like the philosophy on skepticism. Like we talk about this often. It's changed.
It's changing.
Right.
Yeah.
It's changed. I mean, you go back to Carl Sagan's era and look at it today. Like we're doing a lot more in the skeptical
Yeah, I mean,
movement.
part of the impetus for us writing this book is people ask us, what book do you recommend for a new skeptic, or I want to get something involved in skepticism? And used to say, Demon Haunted World, definitely a good place to start. But I've read parts of it or read it, every 5 or 10 years or whatever. And looking at it recently, I'm like, it's still a great book, but there's so much about it. It's increasingly dated because we've actually learned stuff about how to change minds and and all of the cognitive biases and all that sort of stuff. There's actually a science of all of this, and it's changing all the time. I mean, I write about it on my blog, Neurologica. I mean, not 1 or 2 weeks goes by where I'm not seeing a study that iterates, one step a little bit, our basic skeptical philosophy. It's like, okay, I'm constantly changing, how I think about metacognition, about all the stuff that we talk about. So the movement, I think, was definitely overdue for an updated primer introduction, but also we wanted to do a very thorough treatment of not only just metacognition and skeptical philosophy and skepticism as a way of life, and also sort of all of our personal journey, to being just living life as a skeptical person. So I think we accomplished our goal with the book, which you should definitely buy. You could pre-order it. You go to our website, and there's a link on our page. You could basically all the different places where you could pre-order. You don't have to get it on Amazon. You can get it from lots of different places. Actually, we prefer that you order from your local indie bookstore because
that's
want to spread the love out as much as possible. I understand it makes a great gift as well. We're really excited because we have gotten a lot of great feedback from the people who have read the book so far. We've gotten great
feedback from people who we respect and first off, they'll be honest with us. Second of all, if they like it, it means that we did a good
Even
job.
the people we don't respect really love it.
My favorite, George Robb, who's one of our great, he's a family member to us at this point. But George really, really appreciates the work in the book that we did. I mean, he was like, he read it and was saying like, "This is it. This is what we needed." I felt so good about what he had to say.
Yeah, it was great to get good reviews from Bill Nye and Neil deGrasse Tyson and Sean Carroll, and just all the people and Tim Minchin. I mean, just a lot of people who send us back great feedback on the book. Obviously, blurbs that we could use to promote the book. But the thing that I was really excited about was the first review by not a skeptical insider. This is a Kirkus review, which I didn't even hear about. This is our first book. We have no idea. So this is an insider industry review.
Is it Jim Kirkus?
No, so
James T. Kirkus?
From what James T. Kirkus, that Kirkus is a company that does reviews on all the new books that come out that helps people who buy books. Like, so Barnes & Noble, as an example, would listen to the Kirkus review and go, do we want to stock that book?
Yeah.
Right? And she also, this is our publisher, by the way, our publisher said, it's not uncommon to get a mediocre review, you know what I mean? And it's very uncommon to get a starred review. Now, this isn't like 5 stars like Amazon.
It says you're starred or you're not starred.
You're starred or you're not starred. We got a starred review from them.
Right. We got a starred review, and she also said, our publisher, I think it's part of her job to be positive. But taking that into consideration, she said, it's rare to see a review where there was nothing negative said, and basically every sentence is something that they could use to promote the book. So it was just a positive review from beginning to end. So that was really, that was nice. I mean, I really felt good about that because
that bribe was so worth it.
But to be honest, though, we've been writing this book
cleared
for 20 years.
Yeah.
We've been preparing ourselves. Like when it was a lot of work, and and Steve. This is in Steve's voice. The vast majority of the book is in Steve's voice, and there's a lot of Dr. Steve novella in here, and rightfully so. I mean, if you see, like I'm like way down here.
I'm second.
No, but the point is, this is everything that we've talked about in the podcast. This is everything that we've talked about in all of our blogs, and every time we go out, like we've talked about these topics for decades. Mm-hmm. And to write the book, it wasn't easy,
I know.
but we knew what to write, and it was good to know what to write.
Sure.
I mean, I'm always a believer in, and maybe I always give myself the hard path to take, but this is just the way I am. I do things the hard way. I know that. But like before we decided that we were going to do a podcast or anything like that, like I felt like we had to earn our bones, right? So we did like investigations and like we wrote articles. We were involved at the grunt level, grassroots level for 10 years before we basically did anything big. And it's the same thing. Like before, like we write this book. Like 5 years ago, we could not have written this book. It would not have been that. It wouldn't have been this.
He really does take the hard path. I mean, he even used an old manual typewriter to type it up. It makes it so hard on
Steve's
himself.
right though. It's I think back on how much we've changed. If you click through every 5 years from the beginning, the first 5 years we were cutting our teeth on everything.
Yeah. But that experience is all gold.
Yeah, but that's why.
Don't forget though, when we started the New England Skeptical Society in 1996, so we were writing quarterly. We had a quarterly journal, New England Journal of Skepticism, for a while. So we weren't neophytes, but the podcast was brand new. That was a new universe.
Right. All right.
So thanks for asking. Real quick, so apparently Kara's having some internet issues, so she's working on it. We're going to try to get her on as soon as we can, but we're trying in the background. So thank you, Ian and Ian. It's the tech name today is Ian. Last time it was Liz, but today the tech name is Ian. They heard Quincy barking, and they want to know if Quincy can visit the set.
No. No, but only because he's a 15-year-old dog with horrible arthritis. He'll never make it down the stairs. Sorry. And he's too big to carry.
Poor Quincy. Quincy is very adorable.
Yeah, Kara's not on yet.
Question, if you instantly remove one pseudoscience, which would you choose?
It's easy. It's easy. It's too easy.
You really think about which one?
Well, med. Come on. People are dying.
If you include all of alternative medicine as one pseudoscience,
I would not don't do that. That's not what they're asking.
But that's too easy.
Yeah.
Well, you go for the hard stuff. I go for the easy stuff.
But I know what I mean is that makes the question too easy. If you could do one broad category, like I would remove fraud, but get narrow. You have to pick one specific, like acupuncture, like something very specific.
Which one do you hate? The question is actually saying which one do you really lie in bed at night?
Well, quantum pseudoscience pisses me off, but no one's dying from it. I got to pick
a little bit of Deepak Chopra.
I got to pick something where people are dying, or really, really being hurt, not just misled by quantum, crazy talk. So what you answer that? See, which branch of alt med?
I don't know. It's hard, because you say like naturopaths, chiropractic, traditional Chinese medicine. They're all pretty much up there, And then it's also like how big or narrow can I say energy medicine, or
that captures a lot.
Supplements.
Let me just put this on rails. Pick one.
Yeah.
Like traditional Chinese medicine is a huge header because it treats a lot of different illnesses or whatever. Well, so does homeopathy. But just try to pick one, like something encapsulated, like like acupuncture or homeopathy or something like that. What would you?
Right.
Which one would you want to get rid of?
I don't know.
I know what I'd want to get rid of.
What?
The Church of Scientology.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I hate them.
It's been a thorn in your side.
I do.
for a long
I've
time.
always hated them. I mean, I'm fascinated by it, and there is a huge level of entertainment I get by it. But I mean, when I watched the movies that came out about it, the books and movies that have recently come out, I mean, I went from like, that's bad to they're evil. This is an evil organization that needs to go away.
Yeah.
I agree with that. And besides the fake cancer cure industry,
That's
that's
big.
probably a big one.
That's
the
a big
obvious
one.
for me, my personal one, like Jay with Scientology.
Yeah, if you can use cancer cure as a category.
Yeah.
Or how about
But
this?
I'll say
That's-
exorcisms. Because
that's narrow
that does a lot of harm
It
in lots of
does.
different ways. It kills people, it injures people, psychologically injures people,
Yeah.
monetarily injures
Yeah.
people. It does a lot of broad
All right,
harm
what
to
if we
lots of
went
people
big?
all over the world.
Yeah.
What if we went big and said, okay, you can eliminate all cults, all conspiracy theories, or all alternative medicine?
All
Alternative
alternative
medicine.
medicine.
That would be
Yeah.
my
The
goal.
world would greatly benefit because you know what? If you got rid of all cults and you got rid of all conspiracy theories, they would come back in a heartbeat. But if you got rid of all alternative medicine, I think
Yeah.
it would take a long time for it to crawl back up. Yeah, it's more people, more money, and more danger from alt med.
Yep.
Are there plans to have the book available as an audiobook?
What a
Yes.
good idea.
Yes,
That's a
there
good
are.
idea.
So
Let's
the
do
publisher
this.
pulled
Good
the
plans.
trigger on that. They're definitely going to do an audiobook. In fact, just today I sent in my audition to read the book. It's not a guarantee that we're going to do the reading.
Yeah.
Reading, I had to do an audition. I had to read a chapter, and then I just sent it in. So I don't know what they're going to think about it. It's hard reading, So it's not like what we're doing here.
It's not conversational.
It's not conversational. It's not lecturing. It's more like acting. So it's a different skill set.
Acting.
Narration.
So funny.
So I can try it a little bit right here. I have to put my glasses-
boy.
But I found it challenging to do, but I think I did okay. But we'll see what they think about it.
Because reading,
This is not conversational. This was not written to be read or to sound conversational. We could say
Or sound good.
the fundamental feature
Sorry, I
that
mean that.
separates the process of science from pseudoscience is that science is a genuine search for what is true, regardless of what that might be.
stop. This is what the director would do. All right, Steve, say it again.
Yeah.
And the director could say something as simple as, but smile when you say the last sentence in that paragraph.
Yeah, right. But the other thing is, like, even though I'm very familiar with the book, I don't really know exactly what's coming. You know what I mean? So I'm reading it. You know what I'm saying? You're sort of reading it and emoting it at the same time.
Well, that's why the producer / director, I think of it more as a director,
Yeah.
but it's a producer. The producer will help you pull emotion out of it.
Or they may decide to hire a professional.
Yeah.
So we'll see. So the question is then, who are they going to hire to read the book? I said, if they can get James Earl Jones, I will totally sign off on that. Either that or
Does Steve blink? Somebody asked a question, does Steve blink?
David Tennant.
Hold on, I got to wind Steve up.
Yeah, Tennant.
So Jaff is a moderator. Everybody knows who Jaff is, I'm sure. It's Jafe. I remembered all by myself.
All right, Jay.
Jafe.
All right,
He says,
Jay.
Jafe wants to know, can
Jaff.
Steve reach over and feel the stubble? Now, I'm actually
that 4 or
happy
5
that
days?
you could see the stubble on my face because that means that the studio is well lit and the cameras are in focus.
And you've gone
Bob,
through
thank
puberty.
you. So it was funny. Our brother Joe, I saw him today. He came back from he was on vacation for a week. He didn't shave for a whole week,
How's it look?
Tell
How's
me
it
where.
look?
and it looked cool.
No
It looked
shit.
good. It wasn't as thick as Evan's beard, but it looked good. He looked cool. And he said, "Should I keep it?" I'm like, "Yes, keep it. Don't shave it. It's good. It's cool."
Oh man, or at least turn it into something
Yeah.
like mine.
Sorry about that.
That's right. Question for my son. Have you seen any info on how much mass Enceladus ejects daily and how this would affect its orbital path? I'm curious if this would cause difficulties while landing a probe. So are you asking, is the ejection of water in the geyser from Enceladus accelerating Enceladus? Like, is that like a rocket which is then pushing Enceladus and therefore changing its orbital path? So I mean, the answer has to be yes. Of course it is. Newton's law. But the question really is how much. And I suspect it's teeny tiny.
Especially over a short period of time required for some sort of lander.
Maybe the cumulative
to
effect.
land.
But you have to wonder, the cumulative effect, is it all just going to average out? You know what I mean? Like, is it?
I don't know.
Because it's rotating and it's at different places. It's kind of at random.
Yeah, I would imagine that anything that's ejecting out of it makes it more difficult to interact with, right? Because it's unpredictable. Like, it's not like a constant thing.
But it's not like it's going to be zigging and zagging every time it ejects.
No,
It's too big.
Right, and the percentage, what's ejected, the mass of that compared to the Enceladus is, come on,
Teeny tiny.
It's
right.
infinitesimal.
It would be. I would think that it would take centuries to even change its orbit in any way that would be significant. And for a lander, it would be no problem.
Yeah.
No
Good.
problem.
As long
Good
as
to
you don't
hear.
get a jet right as you're landing.
Yeah, don't land on one.
And no metric mix-up this time.
That's right,
Right.
please. Right? Hey guys, Kara is on the Discord.
Hi,
Hey,
Kara.
Hey, Kara, hey!
Hey.
Hey!
Kara, we're sorry you have internet problems. I was looking forward to chit-chatting with you tonight. So just make sure that your internet works for Wednesday when we record the
Working
show.
for
right?
Discord. I don't know what's up with
Yeah.
Skype.
Well, it could if her upload is suffering for whatever reason, then I could see why Skype wouldn't work. So, any more questions? Ian is supplying the questions. Maybe Kara will ask us a question. She said, "Are the old live streams not archived somewhere?"
Not archived somewhere.
The old live streams are available on, aren't they in the posts, Ian, on Discord?
On YouTube.
On YouTube, yep. Yes, they're on our YouTube channel. Through Patreon. Yeah,
So
they're-
basically, if you're a patron, you go to the posts.
Yeah,
right.
you'll find them in there.
And they'll be in there. It links to a YouTube video that is
private.
It's not, well, it can't be private, but it's just not advertised.
You have to have the
Right.
link. You have to have the link to get there.
Yeah.
It's unlisted.
It's unlisted, but it's available.
So they should. I don't know if they're tagged. Are they tagged live stream, Ian? Yeah, we're going to make sure that all the there's not many of them. We have 3, I think. We'll tag them all with the keyword live stream, so you can just do a search and find them right away.
Yeah, I've been tagging premium content, ad-free, and the ad-free shows is ad-free, and the premium content is premium.
Yep.
So we should tag the live streams as live stream.
Yeah. Hey guys, before I forget, so as you know, and even to this day, the SGU is 99% a grassroots, effort.
Wait, what's the 1%?
Whatever, I do pay to boost
Oh,
articles and things that go on Facebook, which is not considered grassroots because I'm paying a company to put us in front of other people. But the best thing that you could do, whenever you feel like you're in front of someone that is a friend or a coworker that you think might benefit from listening to the show, please tell them, because a recommendation coming from someone that you know, and if they trust you, it could really help increase our audience size, which is what we're trying to do. We want to reach more and more people. So coming from you guys who are really SGU ambassadors, I mean, you guys you're our core audience. You know us better than anybody else, and you know what our mission is, and you know what we're trying to do. So please, just once a week, tell someone that you know. That would help us out a lot. So, question: any book tour plans for the Boston area yet? The answer is no.
Nothing on the schedule,
but we will go.
Hey, as I said on the show, if you want us to go somewhere, set it up. Contact us. Find a local bookstore. Find a group that will sponsor it. If you can get us there, we will go. We will make it, and we'll contact our publisher. We'll set up book sales and book signing. We'll do it.
Yeah, we have absolutely no reason to jump in a car and drive up to Boston to go to a book signing. You get the Boston Skeptics to do an event. If you're a part of Boston Skeptics, we know those guys, but just ask them. It would be great to.
Did you mean that we have no reason not to do it?
We absolutely. We just need to do it. It's a phone call away.
There's a couple of really good bookstores.
I think you pulled a Donald Trump not thing there with that sentence.
Wouldn't?
Yeah, whatever.
Oh, it was. If I was confusing, I'm sorry.
We will go to Boston. Just contact us and set it up. But yeah, we just have in mind what's going to happen. Where are we going to be? We're not going to. We won't have the ability to book the venue and
we
all that.
can't organize it.
If you want to handle the logistical details, we'll go there. We'll handle the publisher end. We'll get ourselves there. We'll do it from that end. You work out the logistical end details locally. And this is true Especially if you're within like an hour's drive of Connecticut, absolutely.
Yeah.
If we have to fly, then that there's a little
That's
expense associated with that. Then we have to. Then the question becomes, how is it going to pay for itself so that we can get ourselves there? But that's not a big deal either. You get 100 people in a room and they kick in $10. That'll get us there or something like that. But anyway,
someone asked the guys how they plan on celebrating my 35th birthday while we're all in the UK. Also, don't tell them it was me who asked by not Kara.
He read that whole thing.
I don't know that we were supposed to read that, Jay.
Oh, those are like, okay.
That's Kara asking, but wanting somebody else to ask for her.
Oh.
Oh, okay.
Oh, somebody. Okay. So a listener who knows when. Yeah.
Some random listener asked us, not Kara.
I should have handled that one.
Directed at Kara.
Sorry. Sorry, folks at home.
Yes. Well, we didn't even know that your birthday was then.
We've only told us like 10 times.
Yeah, we haven't planned anything. We have nothing planned.
No, nothing.
We're not doing anything.
No balloons.
We don't have time to do anything.
There's no time.
No one's jumping out of cakes. Nothing like that.
We got to wash our hair, do stuff.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Does the current political climate make your jobs as skeptics more difficult? Yes!
Well, that's an interesting question.
It is.
I don't know if it's more difficult.
That's a complicated question.
Oh, I just had a talk with Mom today. I went to the store with my mother today.
Let's not bring mothers into this.
No, but I mean, it's the generation. My mom's 80, like a lot of
81.
older people.
81.
But I mean, she actually said to me, how come the Republicans didn't do anything to Obama? It was easy for him. I was like, what? Mom, they tried to stop everything that Obama tried to do. I'm not even saying what side of the fence I'm on, but the point is, like, the political climate in our country has been horrible for decades.
Yeah.
It's getting worse. It's getting worse every time another president comes in. It gets worse. It's worse than the last time.
Right.
If you just do it in your head.
Polarizes.
So it's very polarized. So I think it's interesting because it certainly gives us a lot to do.
Yeah.
And so, as skeptics, if the whole world were completely rational, we wouldn't even have to exist, right?
Yeah.
So the more irrational the world is, in a way, it's frustrating. It sucks. We're not saying we want it to be that way, but it certainly gives us a lot of stuff to do. But
I could be watching Survivor on Wednesday nights. I mean,
I know.
what
We
the
could
hell,
go back
man?
to playing. We were playing online City of Heroes on Wednesday night.
My
and then
gosh.
we turned that into
We
recording.
were having
the
a great
show.
time until we found out the world is totally fucked up.
Yeah. But it is hard because there are so many more taboo topics.
Yeah.
I mean, so like when I engage with somebody, I want to like say, okay, let's address this question. Like you have a question about whatever it is, GMOs or climate change or is the world flat or whatever, and say, okay, well let's talk about this like a scientific question, a rational question. And then people immediately get personal and ideological and crazy and irrational, and that's frustrating, and that's definitely happening more than it was.
Yeah. Plus, I think today it's pervasive. Like there's more of it going on.
Yeah.
Like, because politics are so screwed up. Like we have to, as much as we want to not talk about politics, we're semi-forced to talk about politics. And politics is one of those things. Religion and politics, The Masons have a thing that when you go into a lodge, you're not supposed to talk about politics and religion because they don't want people to have discussions that are going to make them get into fights. Yeah, they want people to get along.
Right.
And that's one of the reasons I'm a Mason, and that's one of the reasons why I really
James
Mason. It's one of the reasons why I became a Mason. I'm the man who's going to destroy you. Now that's not James Mason, but got it. That was Ernest.
That was Ernest.
That was from Ernest Goes to Jail.
Yeah.
It was one of the best scenes in that freaking movie. Is when
there was more than one.
Here's the man who killed my brother.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So he does a rat-a-tat-tat of impersonations. He does an amazing Humphrey Bogart.
Yeah.
That actor. What was his name?
Varney?
Varney. Yeah. James Varney.
Jim Varney?
Jim Varney.
Loved him.
Guy was a trained Shakespearean actor.
He's worm food.
I know. He was wonderful. But anyway, wow, did you do that deliberately? Get me talking about politics? Like, we don't want to talk about politics and religion. We don't do it on the show because it's quickly the way to push people's buttons. We want the show to be inclusive.
Yeah.
we do not all agree on politics and Kara. We don't all agree. There's a spectrum
This is
here.
fine. Yeah, the thing is, we don't want it to be a distraction from the science and skepticism, right? So it's very effective to engage people on topics where they're a little bit more calm and reasonable, where they can think objectively, and then you can teach them all the metacognitive skills that they need in order to be able to be rational and scientific. But when you engage with them on something about which they have their identity rolled up, or they're like, I'm on team this political party.
Shields
whatever.
up.
Yeah, it's like there's nothing good comes from that. Very, very rarely can you thread the needle
Breach
and
the
break
shields.
through. Yeah, breach the shields. Very, very rare. So it's just a waste of time. It's just frustrating to do that. So it's tough.
I think the best perspective really is, no matter what our political affiliation is or our loyalty is individually, our loyalty is to the scientific method and to science.
That comes first.
Way first.
That has to come first.
Way first, and that's what we're teaching.
Yeah.
Right. So I think that's just the way it's got to be.
I
used to work with people that didn't vaccinate their kids.
Yeah.
I would sit there and 10 feet away from this guy, and his kids are gorgeous and awesome, and he's awesome, and he was one of my favorite people that I worked with, and I'm just sitting there and I'm like, how can I get through to him? And I couldn't do it. I worked with him for 10 years, and I couldn't figure out a way to get through to him.
Wow.
That to me, like, that's way more important. I don't want to talk about politics, because that's the thing that people just get pissed off. They either agree with you and you're pissed off, or they don't agree with you and they're pissed off.
Yeah.
I was like trying to figure out, how do I talk to I was going to my company saying, I want to give a seminar. I want to talk about pseudosciences and talk about medicine and things like that. And they wouldn't let me do anything. They didn't like it when I got on my soapbox.
Here's a funny little anecdote. So it's part of the standard mental status exam, like part of the neurological exam. You ask a bunch of questions, and one of the questions that we typically ask is, who's the president of the United States, and then name the presidents back as far as you could go. It's just a way of seeing like how their memory is and how oriented they are, etc. Right? I had to stop asking people who the president was. I had to come up with other questions.
No, because it led to a conversation.
Every time.
Whoa,
it's like,
really?
It's all like, oh, fuck Trump, or it's like, yay, Trump. It's like, whatever. I never got an emotionally neutral answer out of people. I just stopped asking it. So I just asked different questions.
Right. So now Steve says, who's your favorite porn star?
Yeah, right. That's a much less controversial question.
Well, which God do you believe in?
Yeah, which God?
So somebody asked,
Boxers or briefs?
Are you continuing with Alpha Quadrant 6?
Yes!
Yes, we are. You can think of it as Nexus happened, and the SGU...
We've been a little busy.
What
We've
happened?
been busy. The SGU takes precedence, of course, with most other projects.
No, but we have stuff that's
in the queue.
In the queue. Obviously, when Star Trek Discovery comes back on, we'll be doing that. That's like night of. We do right after the show. We do the after show, and then we have lots of great plans for shows. Like I want to talk about how Hollywood pisses us off when it comes to science fiction movies. Like all the things that Hollywood does wrong, science fiction. And if you have ideas about shows that you like, good 20-minute discussions that you'd like to see us rant about, shoot them our way. Yeah, we'll be happy to do them. What we'd like to do is like do 2 or 3 in a row, and then we're good for a month. We just haven't had the Sunday where we could do that in a bit, but we'll get there. We'll probably squeeze one more out in August maybe, and then be good through when our travels.
Yeah, and plus I've been focusing a lot of my energy on the SGU, and I'm going to start doing more work for Alpha Quadrant 6 because we want to increase the audience.
Yeah.
And it's doing good. We have a good base.
Doing well too.
Nice. Can we just change the dictionary and why?
You gotta.
Everybody says good except you.
That's not true.
Josh, do you use the word good?
No. You don't use it the wrong way though. It's like fingernails on a chalkboard when you say that.
Okay.
Good.
What if they changed it in a dictionary? Would you change your mind then?
No.
I don't like when people say template. It's template.
Template?
It's template. It's not template.
Yeah.
Right? That's mine. You're lucky you don't say it.
It's like saying like we did good is like saying for all intensive purposes.
Intensive purposes.
Those
purposes.
Oh.
So I used to say vice versa. It's vice versa, right? I used to say vice versa.
Yeah, vice versa.
Vice versa.
Vice versa. Or what's another one I love? It's supposedly.
Oh.
What was that? What's that one? You put the error in front of it. Irregardless.
Irregardless.
Yeah, irregardless. No, it's just regardless.
Regardless.
Yeah.
Inflammable.
Inflammable.
Either it flams or it doesn't.
Okay.
So Steve before said out of whack, and right when he said that, I said, well, what's in whack? If that's out of whack, what's it?
Something that's right.
Left the wax.
Something that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just like that.
At least that's whacked.
Yeah, that's whack.
That's
Remember that?
whack. Crack is whack.
Would you recommend Star Trek Discovery to someone who enjoys the movies but is not hardcore Star Trek fan? That's a hard question.
No, I think so. It's well written. I do think that I like what they're doing with the show. I was in the last few episodes I thought were great.
It got really good.
It's a good
mid-season.
series.
It took them half the season just to figure out what the hell
They had to ramp it up.
If you
Well,
end
not
the
just that, I think
season,
they were
if you
setting
end the
up.
season good,
They were setting up.
everything is good. If you ended well,
And I'm hearing.
then
Damn! Boy, he called himself out though. You got to give him props for that. I'm hearing amazing things about season 2.
Yeah.
They want to make it more like Star Trek, the original series. They
That's
actually
right.
said that. They
made the connection with Pike.
Yes, and there's going to be. I don't even want to say it. These are spoilers, but I read them online. They're available spoilers. It's going to be more like the original series in its intent, like missions and stuff like that. We're going to see a lot of Captain Pike and some other people. Don't even get me started. I'm looking forward to this.
Is Quinto going to be a
My
spy?
God, out of all the Star Trek things that they fucked up so bad, don't fuck this one up. And don't let J.J. Abrams anywhere near this.
Yeah.
That guy admitted...
Unless they want flares.
He admitted on whose show was it? I can't remember whose show it was. He admitted that he wasn't a Star Trek fan.
Oh.
He said it. You're taking over the franchise.
You know who is a Star Trek fan?
Who?
Quentin Tarantino.
Yeah, and he's supposedly
They
He
are
wants to
in
do a
negotiations
gritty
for
movie.
a R-rated version of the
Oh, I
Star
love
Trek
it.
movie.
Love
Quentin
it.
Tarantino, and he's only going to make 10 movies. It's up to 8. He's got 2 left. He wants his, I think, his 10th movie to be the Star Trek.
I've seen X-rated Star Trek movies. Good sets.
Yeah, I'm sure. If microwaves aren't part of the visible spectrum, why can I see the one in my kitchen? Bob, there's a physics question. You can take that one.
You know, it's a funny
Come on,
joke.
be funny.
No, it might not be.
All
Bob,
right.
you know, this person might be serious. They might be seeing their microwave might be on the fritz, and it might be doing that electrical thing.
No,
that
it's a
they're seeing.
joke. But here's another one. This is a serious question. This one's for me. Question
I
for
had a good
Steve.
tangent off that. But.
Why are IV bags used in medicine, but not 3 or 4 bags? Or 5 bags, right? 5. Sorry, 3 or 5 bags.
All right. Okay.
There's actually a really good historical question for that.
Yeah.
I mean, a good historical answer to that question, which I'll get to you some point. Yes, I'll look it up.
All right, I'll ask you. This is Steve's going to take this question, but I'll read it for him. Is there any reason that a doctor of dentistry or a doctor of optometry would be more valid than a doctor of chiropractic? Aren't none of them real medical doctors?
Yes and no. So, there is this question of whether or not any healthcare professional other than an MD should use the term doctor. And I do think that there's a good argument for saying that, people hear the word doctor and they think that they're an MD. Most of my patients look like they don't know the difference between an ophthalmologist who's an MD and an optometrist who isn't. They're confused about that. Mm-hmm. I asked them, have you seen an ophthalmologist, an eye doctor? And well, I saw my optometrist. Does that count? I'm like, no, that doesn't count. Not for the things that I'm interested in as a neurologist. So there is confusion about that.
Yep.
But the other part of the question is there a difference between chiropractors and optometrists and
Dentists, he said.
and dentists, and you can also include podiatrists and physiatrists or whatever. And there is a big difference because optometrists are basically science-based. There are optometrists who get into pseudoscience, but the profession itself is basically science-based. Podiatrists, dentists are basically science-based. Chiropractors are basically pseudoscience-based. So they're just not in the same world. Mm-hmm. Chiropractic is inherently pseudoscientific. And those chiropractors who try to be scientific basically become sports medicine physical therapists because physical therapists always get pissed off when I say that. But my point is not that they have that training, but that's what they're doing is they're sticking to the physical medicine that is science-based. Then you're approximating physical therapy at that point. You're not doing chiropractic. Because anything that's uniquely chiropractic is pseudoscience. Right. And anything chiropractors do that's not pseudoscience is not uniquely chiropractic. The same is not true of optometry or podiatry or dentistry or whatever. So that's fundamentally different on that score.
a dentist is not a medical doctor in any way. They have some training, but I mean, it's, you know, right? You don't look at a dentist and be, they're a doctor of dentistry.
Yeah.
Right.
It's different than being a true medical doctor.
All right.
Yeah.
Steve, bring back the Steve. Steve says a bunch of words in interesting ways. Written, for example. So that's not just me. Bob and Jay do that also.
Yeah, that's our Danbury accent.
Written. So we say written instead of written.
Written.
So it's called a glottal stop. It's part of our regional accent.
And it's the right way to say it, you know.
We say salt
Button.
instead of salt. Button.
Button.
Salt. Yeah, but that's...
Drawer is more of the New York accent. That's the drawer, draw. We got draw from our mother from Brooklyn. She infected us with a few New York words, but that's not region. That's not our Danbury accent. Our Danbury accent is the glottal stop T.
Yes.
The double T is like, we don't pronounce it. We just sort of go over it.
I actually try to undo that when I talk to my kids. I don't want to say it.
Salt. I have to make a conscious effort. It's not. It doesn't come naturally.
Wait, we don't say salt correctly?
Say salt.
Salt. Yeah.
Salt.
No,
That's
salt.
right.
Better call salt.
Yeah. Yeah, we just don't hit the T's.
You don't hit the T. We don't say written. We say written. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I could see saying salt with
Salt.
Salt.
but written,
That sounds
Sorry.
weird. Doesn't feel right.
it's not right.
Yeah.
Bitten.
Written.
It should be against the law.
From Jaff, question, have you all covered the trailing spiral solar system in motion video and explained why it's not right even though it looks cool?
No.
Nope.
Nope.
We'll have to come back to that
Yeah,
one.
we'll come
shall
back
look.
to it.
Yeah.
I think I know the answer to this next question. Could you let me give it a stab?
Go ahead.
Doctor.
You
The
wanna play
question
doctor?
is, when the FDA approves something, does that mean there's evidence for its effectiveness or just it's relatively harmless? Are the rules different for food versus drugs versus supplements? Okay, so to answer the first part of that question, I think you were correct in saying that it's not proving that it's effective as much as it's proving it's not going to kill you. Or
Can I
it's relatively
can I just get the real
Yeah.
answer? Okay. So it's the answer to the first part of the question is it depends because of the second part of the question.
Okay.
It depends on whether you're talking about drugs or supplements or medical devices. Right? So for drugs, in order to get approved as a drug, you have to get approved for a specific indication and you have to prove safety and efficacy.
Meaning that it works.
Yeah, so efficacy is that it
It
works.
won't hurt you.
Yeah.
But that's the safety. It has to be safe and it has to work. So you need both. So for drugs, you have to prove safety and efficacy for a specific disease indication.
Okay.
Like it can't be pain, it has to be diabetic neuropathic pain, right? It has to be a specific disease indication.
But didn't you just say last week that the FDA doesn't have enough manpower to actually do that?
Well, no, that's where they focus their efforts. They do that. What they don't have is the manpower to do everything else, right?
Okay.
So for supplements, because of DSHEA, the Dietary Supplement Health and Education Act of 1994, you don't have to prove safety or efficacy for supplements.
Okay.
And you could make claims for them as long as they're structure function claims. They're not disease claims. Structure function means like this will help, rate your digestion, but you can't say it will treat, a specific GI disease. Like it won't treat your ulcer, but it will promote health.
It could increase your metabolism.
It'll promote the immune system or whatever. That's why they make all those crappy claims, because they're allowed to. For medical devices, they really just want to know that they're not going to immediately electrocute you and kill you, right? They don't really get too in the weeds about efficacy. And I've seen the FDA approve all kinds of devices that are no real convincing evidence for efficacy. They really just want to know that they're safe. For food, it's like supplements. It's more just they just want to know that it's safe, and there's a couple of standards. If you're introducing a new ingredient into the human ecosystem, you have to prove safety. If it's something that's been around for a while, they follow the GRAS rule, which is GRAS, generally regarded as safe. So if something is GRAS, you're good. Your grandfather.
Yeah, like if they add cinnamon into a recipe, you're fine.
Yeah, you don't have to prove cinnamon is safe again. You can just say, yeah, people have been eating this for 1,000 years. Okay, you're good. You're good to go. Not always the case though, because there are things that are grass that have been around for a long time that are poisonous. The time is not enough.
So if you can change one thing about the FDA, what would you change?
So I would get rid of DSHEA, just completely get rid of it, and then I would regulate
the shit out of supplements. And all
yeah,
that
I would say no more quasi-health claims, either your food or your drugs. That's it, right? Homeopathy is a drug. Actually, homeopathy is a drug. The FDA just chooses not to regulate it, although they just changed it. Now they're going to regulate only the ones that are making real serious disease claims like cancer. So if you're saying this homeopathic remedy will cure your cancer, the FDA is interested. If it's this will make you feel better, or this is for the flu. They don't care. They're not going to bother. It's below their. They don't have the manpower to deal with that kind of soft stuff. They're only dealing with the harder stuff.
Somebody said, I think Bob could use some of that coffee.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
Sleepy, Bobby.
Yeah, it drove a lot today. It doesn't. Caffeine doesn't wake me up.
It doesn't do anything to you.
So
if it doesn't do
it tastes great.
So how about this? If it doesn't do anything to you, then why don't you just drink decaf?
I do. I take whatever's available.
Oh, that you don't care.
Yeah,
that's nice. So I got a funny story I want to tell people. Just pull it out of my butt.
Funny story, Jay.
That reminded me what I just said. So I had this guy I used to go to high school with, who grew up in New Fairfield, Connecticut.
Donuts?
No. He grew up in New Fairfield, Connecticut, but he talked like he was from Brooklyn because all of his family was from Brooklyn. You know what I'm talking about? So one time, I was like 25, and I was dating a 19-year-old, and we're in a bar.
Whoa!
And she goes to the bathroom, and this happened. He turns to me and he goes, "Hey, how old?" And I go, 19. And he goes, "Nice." And I was like, "Did that just happen?" Oh, I adore that guy and how funny all of his things
were. Brooklyn.
Oh God!
All right, one more question. I think this is we're gonna have to I think we're running.
What time is it?
It's late.
8:30. Okay.
Jeez. Really?
This will be the last question. This is I have a funny story with it. So, do you ever engage a street preacher, or have you in the past? And the answer is hell yes. I used to engage every street preacher who came to my door.
Yep.
And I would drive my now wife crazy. She's like, why are you doing this? Why? You're not going to change their mind. You know, it's like people will come to the door like Jehovah's Witnesses or whatever. And I would talk to them on the stoop for 2 hours trying to convince them that they're stupid. But the point was I didn't do it to convince them because obviously that wasn't going to happen.
For your own practice.
I was practicing. That was it.
You're learning the enemy.
Absolutely. Learning how to dissect their logic. What's their major malfunction? Where are they going wrong?
Yeah.
What arguments work? What arguments don't work? And I learned a lot about the pseudoscientific mind.
See, Joss?
From confronting those preachers on the street.
So did they ever get mad at you or anything like that?
They would always get animated. Yeah.
I had Jehovah's Witnesses come. So the mother was hiding around the bushes, and she sent her little girl, like a 7-8-year-old girl.
Wow. That's terrible. It's
and
like
I opened the door, and the little girl says, "What came first, the chicken or the egg?" And I went, "The egg." Immediately, I said, "The thing that delivered that egg, whatever you want to say, that laid that egg, wasn't really a chicken, but the thing in the egg was a chicken." And she just was like, and walked away. And I remember her going back to her mother.
She was practicing on you.
Yeah, she goes back to her mother, and her mother didn't like that I had an answer.
Right.
Because she's like, when you go up, they won't have an answer, honey, and then you can tell them that whatever.
Right. It's the gotcha question.
Yeah.
I hate gotcha questions. Yeah. I never use them, even when you have them. It's just like it's not a good strategy. Just end the gotcha question.
No, but wait, and if you're going to use a gotcha question, then right after you ask it, and you have to go, ha-ha! At least gotcha!
But no one's ever convinced with that. It's very counterproductive, I have found.
Yes.
And usually, it's not really a gotcha question. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yep.
It's because there's always layers of complexity, and it just never works out.
Guys,
you can't win it in one fell swoop.
No, you're never going to
invest.
No, you never. That Jehovah's Witness would have to come to your house 100 times before you probably made any headway, if you were lucky. I want to thank all of our patrons, guys. We love doing this. This is a lot of fun. I love being in the studio for any reason, of course, because this is actually my home. We want to thank you guys. We utterly appreciate your generosity and being a part of the SGU family. We want to, Kara thanked us. We want to thank you, Kara. We love you. We missed you tonight. We'll see you on the show at Wednesday.
35.
Does anybody else want to say anything nice to our patrons while they're listening? They're right here, Evan.
Thank you.
And you want to know what you have to say?
Love our patrons. Love our patrons. We're going to try to get on there more and chat with you
guys. You guys got to get on Discord more. I read almost everything that happens. Not almost everything, but a lot of what's happening on there. And
check out the new goals.
More to come.
Yes, we updated our goals.
Yeah.
We modified the goals. We'll tell you guys because you know, you guys have been more generous than we thought the membership was going to be. Like you're giving us the amount of money to bring those other goals down. And that's what, as soon as we saw that, we knew that it was sticking, that we made the updates, because we want to do all that stuff.
Plus, we also wanted to give more back to you guys. So, like, I finally browbeat these guys into the 12 and 24-hour shows.
Yeah, I was. They don't want to do it. I didn't want to do it. I'll do the 12-hour, 24-hour. To me, like, I'm not going to see my kids for a whole day.
But that's the point. It's a
sacrifice.
sacrifice.
Bring pictures.
It's going to f my sleep up for days. You guys don't have this problem. Everyone here sleeps. I don't sleep.
I'm willing to sacrifice your sleep.
If you don't sleep, it's fine. It's a problem for us who do sleep.
Like, and again, you know, tell your friends and family. You know, try to bring one more person into the fold. You know, try to get your friends to listen to the show. That'll help us out a lot. And please, guys, I mean, you have access to us. Give us your suggestions and your ideas. Ian and I are going to go through and try to curate some of the best ideas that we have, that we've gotten from you. We have suggestions on there. But, you know, yeah, buy the book. But we will, the next live stream that we do will hopefully be at DragonCon. We will we're going to try to give you guys some Patreon content. And then we want to give the public access content.
It's August 31st to September 3rd.
Yep.
Is DragonCon. It's always on, what's that, Memorial Day?
Yes,
Labor Day weekend.
Labor Day.
I can't remember.
It's Labor Day. Labor Day week. It's always Labor Day weekend. And right, Memorial Day is in the spring, right?
And then what I'd like to do is I'd like to do another one of these live streams at maybe the beginning of October. And then we'll have the QED live stream stuff.
When we have Kara here, we'll do it.
Yeah, we have Kara coming.
Kara is coming to visit.
That's perfect time.
Before we go to the UK, yeah.
So we will do
Kara, we miss you.
All right, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks again.
Hope you had a good time.
Thank you.